tonight, the Northern Edition. Good evening all, I'm Shashina Roll. As always, it is so great to have you with us. Topping news, hundreds of delegates from over 75 countries are on Grand Bahama for the World Customs Organization's annual IT conference. This is the first time the conclave is being held in the Caribbean region. And tonight, Sabrina Brown tells us that the three-day parley was officially opened by the nation's leader, Prime Minister, the Right Honorable Perry Christie.
The Bahamas, like other small developing countries, has for many years relied heavily on import duties and taxes as a source of revenue to fund government expenditure for public goods such as education, health, and public sector salaries. But as the role of the Customs Department has shifted, Prime Minister the Right Honorable Perry Christie says the government must now diversify its revenue sources.
We have implemented the Economic Partnership Agreement as part of the Caribbean Forum with the European Union, which requires customs duties and taxes on a broad range of products to be reduced in the coming years. The ongoing CARICOM-Canada negotiations to liberalize trade will no doubt lead to a reduction in tariff rates even further.
Additionally, the nation's leader says the government has commenced the accession process to the World Trade Organization.
WTO obligations will require further commitments on our part to reduce reliance on customs duties and taxes. It is clear that the trend for direct customs duty and taxes rates is downward. Without alternative sources of revenue, the government of the Bahamas could inevitably face significant revenue challenges. And as you've indicated, Mr. Secretary General, and that is why on January 1st, 2015, we followed other small economies to introduce a value-added tax.
But he says raising revenue is not just about introducing new taxes, but also the ability to improve revenue collection capabilities for existing taxation areas.
We have undertaken an aggressive program of automation across all revenue collection agencies with the purpose of facilitating revenue compliance. In this regard, new automated systems are being implemented for VAT, business license, and real property tax collection. Our efforts are very much consistent with the theme of this conference: inclusiveness through information technology.
Prime Minister Christie adds that the country is also moving towards an inclusive approach to the introduction of new IT systems.
These new systems must bring benefits not only to the government, but also to commercial operators and to the general public who will use these services. We recognize that with the introduction of these IT systems, we must adopt a more client-focused and customer-oriented approach to make it easier to conduct business. This aggressive drive for information, of course, includes the Bahamas Customs and Excise Department.
The WCO IT conference wraps up on Friday. Sabrina Brown, ZNS Network News.
Well, the Secretary General of the WCO, Cuneo Mercurie, also addressed the delegates during the opening ceremony. He says the conclave provides an ideal platform for the exchange of pertinent information.
We have a great opportunity to have a talk and understand each other. What are the priorities and the needs of customs and also other government agencies? Because in the end, coordinated border management will result in more coordination, meaning that on the technology side, it is single window. And so now the vendors and service providers should take care of not only customs requirements, but also other government agencies, what they want at borders.
Well, in 2012, the Inter-American Development Bank approved a $16.5 million loan to modernize the country's Customs Department. During the three-day meeting here on Grand Bahama, discussions will include the electronic single window. During a press briefing, Comptroller of Customs Charles Turner focused on its significance.
By that I mean, for example, road traffic department, as opposed to the manual connecting of information or submission of the information, that will be done electronically. Because with the Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries, all that data information will be submitted to Customs electronically. And it also allows for information to be disseminated regionally and internationally.
Vice Minister of Foreign Trade and keynote speaker John Fonseca says a major focus is also on the IT in customs.
We would like to try to transfer the idea that IT is fundamental to the implementation of trade facilitation in the different countries and regions, and how IT can improve the time of movement of cargo, and with this, the cost of that movement, and with this, the competitivity of the countries. Basically, it's try to show how IT is a tool for trade facilitation, and how trade facilitation can improve the exports, the imports, the income, and basically will bring more jobs and more prosperity for the countries.
Now the conference comes to a close on May 8th. The government-appointed Hawksbill Creek Agreement Review Committee taking its consultative meeting to the 8 Mile Walk community last night. As Kimberly Mullings tells us, residents presented a number of recommendations to the group.
Committee Chairman Dr. Marcus Bethel moderated the session, which focused on recommendations with respect to the expiration of certain provisions within the Hawksbill Creek Agreement. Port licensee Daniel Murray suggested that more opportunities be made available in the maritime industry.
One of the restrictions has to do with land, the availability of land for any young Bahamian that wants anything, any type of business that revolves around maritime is limited to nil.
In the port area you're referring to?
In the port area. I mean, you can write in some stipulations, you can reclaim some land, you can acquire the cement plant and build our own section of the harbor.
Business owner Greg Langstaff focused on the land owned and often unused by the port.
With an $18 million a year disincentive for them to sit on the property, I believe that the property prices would be achieved. This young man wants to buy property. I think that property prices would go down to a market value, not a pseudo market value, because now there's some external pressure on them, because there's an actual cost of sitting on it. I believe the property prices would decrease. And the bigger picture is, when it decreased, I think maybe a construction industry would happen here again.
Bernard Smith had similar concerns, saying over the last 20 years, the Grand Bahama Port Authority has been giving tax exemptions on land.
What do we have to look at to cause us to want to continue to give them this exemption? What benefit we as a community would have derived from the port not having to pay the government this tax?
Bakisha Parker Edgecombe calling on the government to establish a body that would pay closer attention to business development in the outlying areas.
The government should definitely look at either working closely with the GB Chamber of Commerce further to make sure that our business owners in this area are more able to develop, because a lot of them tend to start businesses and they think that's as far as they can go. I think that we need more emphasis to be placed on business development in the small business sector for areas such as this, where we can not only be employees in Freeport, but become employers in our own community.
Businessman Lionel McIntosh agreed. He recalls how the community of 8 Mile Rock was booming with success some 40 years ago.
I'd like for the government to put more emphasis in the local area, because let's face it, they didn't do nothing in the local area. We should have some kind of administration building operating separate from Freeport, and we run our own affairs. But everything now we got to go to Freeport for.
Other committee members, Grand Bahama Chamber President Kevin D. Seymour, Attorney Cassiata McIntosh, and former Minister Maurice Moore also attended the meeting. Kimberly Mullings, ZNS Network News.
Well, tonight a meeting is planned for the High Rock Primary School in East End, and finally, Thursday night committee members will meet with residents of West Grand Bahama at the St. Mary Magdalene Parish Hall in West End, both meetings beginning at 6:30 p.m. In other news, former Minister and Ambassador C.A. Smith addressing the pending expiration of those components of the Hawksbill Creek Agreement during a meeting of the Rotary Club of Lucaya. Smith also noting that there must be new ownership at the Grand Bahama Port Authority if this city is to succeed. Not mincing words, former ambassador of the Bahamas, C.A. Smith says something must be done with what he calls the gloomy state of Grand Bahama. He says if the government fails to extend property tax and business license fees during negotiations with the Grand Bahama Port Authority, it can be a great challenge.
Our island, Freeport and Grand Bahama, is experiencing the most severe economic downturn in decades.
Smith believes the island of Grand Bahama has been at a standstill for too long, and the magic has vanished from the city.
Investment in the industrial sector is non-existent. Apart from upgrades and expansions to the existing industrial plants, no new investment was made in the industrial sector since the Sands Brewery opened in early 2008. Land sales, home construction, property development is at a standstill.
The former ambassador says there must be new ownership and leadership at the Grand Bahama Port Authority.
The future success of Freeport requires a dynamic, creative, resourceful, knowledgeable, and visionary leadership at the Grand Bahama Port Authority. This proactive, development-minded leadership must be capable of creating an environment that capitalizes on Freeport's unique characteristics and of inspiring confidence in the unlimited economic potential and possibilities that Freeport offers. Sadly, the present leadership has shown that it is deficient in these characteristics.
He believes that the tourism industry on the island is failing, and here's his suggestion for the way forward.
The way forward is to identify and to engage a world leader in the resort and tourist industry and provide them with all of the incentives required to develop a multi-range, high-quality tourism product. Lucaya, in my view, must be rebranded as the world-class tourist destination.
He says the time has come for a deep-level trust among the government, the Port Authority, and licensees. Stay with us, the Bahamas Tonight. The Northern Edition continues right after this.
Bringing news that matters to you. You're watching the Bahamas Tonight Northern Edition.
Welcome back. A demonstration outside the offices of the Ministry of Grand Bahama today. Several persons impacted by the new gaming legislation led the protest, calling for someone to intervene in their plight. Natalia Hall reports.
Ready to go! Ready to go! Ready to go!
Residents on Grand Bahama calling for a review of a portion of the new gaming legislation. The legislation that took effect in November of 2014 made the web shop business legal. After the legislation was enacted, the jobs of personal device apparatus operators, also known as mobile bookies, became redundant due to the law. But those that work in that sector are crying foul. On Wednesday afternoon, a group of mobile bookies assembled in the front of the Harold Gregory building to show their disapproval. They were supported by local attorney Carlton Sherland.
To just arbitrarily take a group of people and put them on the unemployment line creates a new class of criminal. These people are very honest, law-abiding citizens. All they want to do is have a decent living. The handheld operators have been making a decent living, but the government chose to introduce a legislation that is discriminating against these people. And they had enough of it. They're not going to take it sitting down.
A team of police officers were on the scene monitoring the crowd as they carried out the peaceful demonstration, but the former bookies were not intimidated. They claimed that they were assured that their jobs would be secured.
I'm speaking on behalf of these people that's behind me. And this is only a 10% fraction of the people that are out of work on this island. So it's a travesty
You and I might not benefit from the handheld operators, but then they have children. Their children have children. And if you take them off the street, then you're making the economy worse for people, young people coming up like me.
We are still waiting on the 10,000 jobs that was promised. When you take these people them out of work, what do you expect?
Come and fix it. Fix it once and for all. You know what I mean? Because who gonna help me with my light bill come? Water bill, phone bill, cable bill, XYZ bills. Who is going to help me?
Social services can't accommodate us. They really can't. There's too much of us. We can't live off of what social services is going to give us. Not what we make a week.
What you all want these people them to do? What else to do? Sit down, fold your arm and dead? What else to do?
Minister for Grand Bahama Dr. Michael Darville is responding to the claims.
I'm confident that as this administration moves to establish the new gaming laws, it will protect the industry and individuals who may be displaced. We believe that there will be opportunities for them to be absorbed in other aspects of the industry. As far as the complaints from this particular group who are in the gaming industry revolving around handheld devices, I've listened very carefully to the council, Sherlin, as it relates to how they have been impacted. And I assure him and I assure those individuals that their concerns will be aired with my colleagues.
He adds that his doors are always open for anyone with concerns. It's Talia Hall, Saturday Network News.
And now to our nightly feature, Ask the Doctor.
Hi, and welcome to Ask the Doctor. Joey from Freeport asks, I had severe muscle aches and weakness after my gym workout yesterday. Should I be concerned? Thank you for your question, Joey. And yes, you should be very concerned. It seems that you overworked yourself at the gym and some muscle injury and strain might have occurred. It is possible that you may have a condition known as rhabdomyolysis. This is a serious syndrome due to direct or indirect muscle injury. It results from the death of muscle fibers and release of their contents into the bloodstream, which can lead to complications such as kidney failure. There are many causes for rhabdomyolysis, including the use of alcohol or illegal drugs such as cocaine, extreme muscle strain, especially in someone who is an untrained athlete, a crush injury such as from an auto accident or a bad fall, medications like statins, which are used to treat cholesterol, or severe burns or electric shock, and seizures. If you experience severe muscle pain or weakness after a workout, dehydration, have red or brown urine, or if you stop producing urine, please see your doctor immediately. With prompt treatment, you can experience a full recovery, but if you delay treatment, you are at serious risk of complications, including kidney failure. Do you have a question or just concerned about your health? Please post it on PHA Bahamas on Facebook, email askthedrbahamas@gmail.com, or call me at 439-4471. I'm Dr. Monique Pratt, and this has been Ask the Doctor.
Stay with us, Ricardo Liborn, as a check on sports when we return.
Sandra Lang, who is officially a half-century older. I thought she was old then. Boy, she really got it going on. The 60th annual Mike Smith Winners Circle charity fishing tournament took place over the weekend down there in West End of the Old Bahama Bay. Kimberly Mullings just loves to go down into the city. Let's see what she's got as far as the weigh-in for you.
This was the biggest tournament so far, featuring 31 boats in the two-day fundraiser. Mike Schmidt, the mastermind behind the event, says he loves coming to Grand Bahama.
Gives everybody here sort of a sense of, what do you want to say, getting away. It's a destination to take your boat. It's camaraderie. It started out as a man's sort of getaway fishing tournament. Nothing against you ladies. There's a few ladies here now, of course, but that's how it started. A bunch of guys going fishing in the Bahamas together, and well, let's create a charity partner and have a tournament every year. And it's been just a labor of love.
Funds raised from this year's Winner's Circle Fishing Tournament went to cystic fibrosis research, the American Cancer Society, and the Marine Industry Education Foundation. Old Bahama Bay Resort manager Jackie Carroll says it's been a pleasure hosting the prestigious tournament over the past 12 years.
We feel like we are actually
part of the Mike Schmidt Winter Circles Charities family. We look forward to it every year because it's very exciting. We get to see all of the fabulous boats and all of the boaters there, you know, people that are return visitors. So it's like people coming back to see us, and it's very exciting. It's a very prestigious tournament, and it's very important. It's a really valuable thing that they're doing for the charity that they have this tournament for every year, and we're honored that they choose Old Bahama Bay to come back.
There was more than enough tuna, wahoo, and dolphin for all in attendance, but congratulations to Pandemonium, Fragrance Harbor, Good Call, and the whole fleet for a great tournament at Old Bahama Bay. Kimberly Mullings, ZNS Total Sports.
And guess what? They tell me that's going to be it. So I'll see you guys next week sometime. Have a good one.